On Sunday, I had a pretty big week ahead of me.
I'm going to Germany tomorrow.
I usually get pretty nervous right before leaving town for a while, so I was just trying to take it slow and do what I would usually do on a Sunday morning. I'm bringing these travel mugs for my mom and dad for them to use when they're traveling in their van this summer. Of course, I had to run a few errands before leaving town, and then it also became time to start packing. The hardest part to me about packing is actually staying on track and doing what I'm supposed to be doing and not getting distracted by the millions of other things I could also be doing. Later that afternoon, I went to the pottery studio to see if some of the pieces that I'm supposed to take with me to Germany actually came out of the kiln already.
Oh, I have done this a lot. It's not ruined. You just have to like
Grind it.
Literally, all of them we have to grind anyways. I don't. There's so many beautiful pieces in there. This one's nice. This one's broken. Yay! This was the high stakes piece.
Oh, that's good. It looks nice.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to Germany tomorrow, and this needs to come with me. So
Ah.
I can't believe that just happened.
That's crazy.
It didn't even have any.
Nobody was near it.
No. All right, so that does not work. Now I'm worried about touching this one. It's like a bomb.
Since it was pretty nice and warm in Athens already, we decided to go pick up some ice cream for my last evening in Athens for a while. The overnight flight to Frankfurt is usually pretty comfortable and easy. And luckily my grandma had given me some euros before I left last time, so I was actually able to start the day with a coffee instead of a coffee headache.
The next exit option is Terminal 1, concourses A, B, C, and railway stations.
It's another 2-hour train ride from the airport to my hometown, and this is usually my favorite part of the journey home. My parents have a pretty impressive collection of plants, and they're obviously very good at taking care of them because this is a cutting that I actually made 2.5 years ago from one leaf, and it's grown this much, so they're obviously very good at taking care of plants, and even with these low light conditions here in Germany.
Guck mal, wenn ich so gucke, dann kann ich die anderen Nudeln auch noch da reinschmeißen.
Ja.
Hast du jetzt in der Zeitung gesehen, deine alte Freundin?
Of course, I got some of my favorite foods immediately when I got home, and I definitely really appreciate them. And it's just nice to be back in the house that I actually grew up in.
Okay, so I'm in Germany now. I got here yesterday. I left Athens probably around lunchtime on Monday morning, so it didn't feel like too bad of a travel day. It was an 8.5 hour flight, and everything went pretty smoothly. And yeah, now I'm here in central Germany, and I think that everyone who's ever returned home from abroad, from anywhere, home to Germany, I think everyone has experienced that the first few days when you get back. I think the weather is just always like disappointing, but it's totally fine. It's still really pretty. I think the trees and everything are probably about 2 months behind Georgia, so it looks like a lot of things are about to bloom. So I think I'm going to be able to see that here. So I'm going to have a second spring, which is really nice. So yeah, it's windy and a little cold, but besides that, it's pretty nice.
At night, I went to a basketball game with my dad, and this is actually the same club that I used to play for, obviously in a much lower league. And it's just nice to see that there's still so much excitement around basketball in my hometown.
Sieht nur alles immer ein bisschen scheiße aus, wenn die Wolken so grau sind. Hier? Eigentlich nicht schlecht.
On Thursday morning, I went with my grandma to go pick up my mom's birthday gift from a jewelry artist. And of course, on the way, we had to go stop at a bakery. But the jewelry artist actually, her studio turned out to be super interesting and nice, and the bracelet turned out very beautiful.
Sehr schön. Finde ich richtig schön.
Und da oben, wo Ende ist, da ist jetzt 6 Grad.
If you're wondering what the weather feels like in Germany this time of year, or honestly a lot of times of the year, I can say it feels about like this. And it's actually kind of refreshing if you haven't had it in a while, but it's definitely not my favorite type of weather. On Friday, I had to go to the pharmacy because in Europe they have this digital vaccination proof, and I had to get my CDC certification transferred to the German way of doing things, which was pretty interesting. And all of those types of things I do on my bike while I'm here, and that is something that I definitely miss when I'm in the US, just riding my bike around. In the afternoon, we went back to the train station to catch a train to Berlin, which is about a 2-hour train ride, and it's definitely a big advantage of living in a pretty well-connected city, that you're just able to take a train pretty much anywhere. This is definitely a better representation of what it looks like usually to take the train. A lot of times it's pretty overcrowded, and it's not unusual that you have to stand for an entire 2-hour trip, but luckily this time we did get a seat.
Gut.
I used to come to Berlin quite a bit on my way back from Lithuania. I would come and stay for a day or two. And it's always pretty exciting for me to be in such a big city. This is the street that my brother used to live on when he lived in Berlin a couple of years ago. And he definitely knows a lot of good spots in Berlin, like this Korean place that we went to at night that was really good. We only had half a day in Berlin, so we definitely want to make it count and get to all the spots that we had planned to, so we got a pretty early start on Saturday morning. And of course I brought my cameras, and I decided to take a little bit of a walk around to take some photos and take advantage of that pretty nice light that doesn't come by in Berlin very often, especially not this time of year. It's pretty cheap and easy to get around Berlin. If you just have Apple Maps or any type of maps on your phone, it's quite easy to navigate, and you're most likely not going to get too lost. We also went to one of my favorite places in Berlin, and to me this is just one of the most interesting places. It's this collection of huge warehouses, and all the stores and everything is all Vietnamese. And the reason for that is because there's a huge Vietnamese community here in Berlin, and they, I guess, just run these warehouses, and it's really one of the most interesting places I've been to, with a ton of good food and really good ingredients if you like to cook any type of Asian food. When it's sunny on a Saturday morning, you can be pretty sure that it's going to be pretty busy in any German city, and that's because Germans usually run their errands on Saturday mornings, especially when it's this pretty outside. We also went to one of our favorite places to eat in Berlin, and it's this Mexican place close to Alexanderplatz. And I used to come here all the time because it was one of the only places that I knew of in Germany that you could get good Mexican food, and it's not that big of a thing in Germany yet.
Ich hätte auch gern Döner. Ja.
We also came across this little demonstration against COVID measures, and if you think that that only happens in the US, you would be wrong. That definitely happens in Germany as well, and usually they just get laughed at. They don't usually get a ton of support.
Wir essen wie kotzen möchte. Wir werden hier belogen und betrogen, dass sich die Balken biegen. Im März 2020 haben sie uns erzählt, wir haben hier einen Killer-Virus, der hier um die
And then on Saturday evening, after a short flight, we made it to Dubrovnik in Croatia to meet up with her mom and dad, and that's actually them walking through the gate right now. I actually hadn't had a chance to visit Southern Europe in quite a while, so I was definitely very much looking forward to spending a week here in Croatia. Thank you so much for watching this little documentation of my time at home in Germany. And I'm still practicing my editing skills, and if you have any notes or comments or anything like that, please let me know. Thank you so much.